Hello, man. What outfit you with?
Archer's Brigade, Heath Division.
Where you from?
Tennessee. How about you?
Maine. I never been to Tennessee.
Reckon I never been to Maine neither.
I don't mean no disrespect, you fighting man. Sometimes I can't help but figure, why you fighting this war?
Why are you fighting it?
Want to free the slaves, of course. Preserve the Union.
I don't know about some other folk, but I ain't fighting for no darkies one way or the other. I'm fighting for my rats. All of us here, that's what we're fighting for.
For your what?
For our rats. Why is it you folks just can't live the way you want to live? And let us live the way we do? Live and let live, I heard some folks say. Be a mite less fuss and bother if more folks took it to heart.
Where'd you get captured?
Railroad cut just west of Gettysburg town. Wasn't a pretty sight. Me and a good boy lost a young and promising life. Some were blue, some were gray. You seen enough of this war?
I guess I have.
I guess I have too. It looks like I'm gonna be sitting out the rest of it.
Well, I appreciate you talking to me.
See you in hell, Billy Yank.
See you in hell, Johnny Reb.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Patreon episode. Today, we are talking with Trent Walker. Now, some of you may know him. No, I shouldn't say some of you. All of you know him as the Confederate prisoner who has his conversation with C. Thomas Howell as Tom Chamberlain. And he is famously fighting for his rats. And he joins us today. Welcome, Trent.
Thank you, Matt. I'm fighting for my rats.
Yeah, that's right.
All of us here, that's what we're fighting for.
So I was having dinner with, I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound all Hollywood here, but I was having dinner last night with Bo Brinkman. And we went to this museum that hasn't opened yet, but we knew somebody who knew somebody, so they said, "Hey, come see this museum." So we went and saw it, and they had some movie memorabilia there. And so he was, looking at it, and we were talking about famous lines, and he goes, the one, all the dialogue that he had in that movie, the one line people always quote back to him is about the flapjacks in small mountains. And that got us talking about how many memorable lines there are that fans of the movie quote. And the other one, of course, is "Fighting for my rats." And so, I mean, do you get that? Do people come up to you a lot and give you that, oh, you fighting for your rats?
All the time.
Yeah.
I get it all the time. I get it in emails. I get it on my YouTube channel. I'll get it on, because that clip on my YouTube channel has got thousands and thousands of views, where my regular stuff gets in the hundreds. But
right.
The clip from Gettysburg, people just love, and they're all commenting on rights. And people are like, "He's saying rats." No, he's saying rights. Why is he saying rats? And, they all have a whole conversation about it. But yeah, I hear it all the time, and I never get tired of hearing it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either.
Never.
I mean, it's got to be flattering, right?
Sure, it really is.
Yeah.
It's funny because the same time Gettysburg came out, Demolition Man came out, which was my second movie.
Right.
And I had a line in that everyone quotes back to me a lot too, which is, "What seems to be your boggle? Mellow greetings. What seems to be your boggle?" that I say to Wesley Snipes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those two lines I get a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, just to give you an idea, nobody quotes anything to me that I've ever said. So, I mean, obviously, no, but I'm just saying that that's a special treat that very few of us in life get, and when you get it, you gotta love it.
Yeah.
It means you touched someone, you stuck out, right, and people made you memorable.
Well, I think it's probably just good writing.
I didn't write this stuff. It's the delivery too.
Well, I'll give a lot of that, of course, to Ron Maxwell.
There you go.
Which was the only note he gave me when we were shooting that scene, which we can talk about, was make sure you're saying rats.
Right.
Make sure, I think we did a take, and then he came up to me and said, make sure you're saying rats. I'm like, all right, got it.
Right. Like, in other words, don't say rights with a strong Southern accent. Say the word rat.
Rats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to the making of Gettysburg in a bit, but first I want to go back and get to know you a little bit there, Trent. Where were you born?
I was born in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
And Oak Ridge, what's that by?
Well, that's where the atomic bomb was made. Oak Ridge is near Knoxville.
Is that where the Oak Ridge Boys are from?
I think they are. I don't think there's another Oak Ridge Southern city that I know of. Okay. I think they are from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. But I was born in Oak Ridge, and then we lived in Clinton, Tennessee. But by my first birthday, from age 1 through 18, I lived in Knoxville, Tennessee. So where I grew up. Okay.
Yeah. Now, so with living in Tennessee, growing up, what was it like where you grew up?
It was a regular neighborhood. We had the seasons. We dumped our school books if we even took them home, which I usually didn't. I really didn't like school. And we played outside until dark. We rode our bikes and we skateboard and we played Foursquare and kicked the can and kickball and we stole cigarettes from 7-Eleven and
there you go.
And we were just kids. We were just rough and tumble. Our clothes were bought at Sears Roebuck and we were just kids. I was the only kid doing shows in my garage.
You were like me. Okay.
Yeah, I was usually the boys in my neighborhood were into heavy metal or fixing cars or doing stuff that I wasn't interested in.
Yeah.
So usually I was recruiting my friends that were girls to be in my shows. And we would throw them in the garage and have people pay $0.25 and come see and
what did you make them up, or were they like actual plays?
No, we made them up.
Right.
We made up whole production things, and then on the 4th of July, we'd go to a neighbor's cabin, and I'd have put on a 4th of July show with the kids, marching and twirling flags and, playing instruments if we played them and all dressed in red, white, and blue. And so it's funny, at this age, I still do what I've always done. When I think of it, I laugh because I'm like, I'm still just, a kid making stuff up.
Well, and that's beautiful. You're so lucky. For me, it was St. Patrick's Day because our grandfather, Irish grandfather, would come over for corned beef and cabbage, and I'd put on a show, a St. Patrick's Day show, and I would get like the girl that lived down the street and my sister. I don't even remember what the hell we did. Well, it was songs, I think, and I don't even know what it was. It was just so. But now that I think about it, I get douche chills, because they were just so. Ugh. But you're a little kid. What do you know? You don't know.
You're a little kid. Yeah. You're just being creative. I was a latchkey kid. My dad was out of the picture early, and my mom was working. So I came home and watched the Gong Show and ate a banana and played.
Right.
I made up stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, your imagination.
Was always creating with something.
Yeah, the imagination is the best place to be, I find.
Well, yeah, and they talk about that in acting. Don't don't lose that little kid make-believe part of acting. You know, once you start breaking down scripts and getting, you know, into character and all of that, which I do, but I still want to have a kid-like imagination and pretend to it.
Like an innocence.
Yeah. I mean, look at the rebel prisoner in Gettysburg. There's an innocence there.
There you go. Yeah. He's simply fighting for his rats.
He's just doing what he's, you know, been told to do, or how he's been raised, and you know, he's kind of naive and he's innocent, and we worked on that a lot for that role, which we'll get into. It's coming, folks. It's coming.
We'll get there. So you're a kid, you grow up, and by the way, the Oak Ridge Boys do have their origins from Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Good.
By the way, they started in 1947.
What about 47?
They started in 1947 as the Oak Ridge Quartet. So this is like, you know how you can go and see the Temptations now, you know, for a Motown review, but all the original Temptations have been dead for like 45 years.
Exactly, yeah.
But so it's like that. Like the guys that we know as the Oak Ridge Boys are not the original.
Wow.
But they're the original ones that were wildly popular, from what I'm able to glean here from the very accurate Wikipedia.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty neat. But yeah, there you go.
I love the Oak Ridge Boys. You know, I was a country music fan all my life, and I still am. But growing up in Knoxville, Tennessee, my friends were not into country music. It was rock and roll, or it was heavy metal. It was music I didn't listen to, and I would change the station in the car if I was listening to country, or somebody came into my house and I had the radio on and I was listening to George and Tammy or Dolly and Porter or whoever. I would change it because I'd be, you know, made fun of. But I've always been a crazy country music fan.
Aren't the heavy metal fans the worst? They're making fun of the poor country fans.
Well, it's funny now when I listen to that rock music now, you know, country is so pop, some of it.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't sound that much different than
No, right.
than, Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is like I grew up in North Jersey, so country music, I mean, it was kind of like always like the subculture there. There was a country scene up there, but you know, it wasn't out in the open. The big thing for me growing up was classic rock, but I've recently gotten. I can appreciate country music now more than when I was younger, but I can't get into the modern country because it's all so. It's like everything else. It's so processed and manufactured.
And so formula. Some of those songs, you know, it's the thing, and then it's the verse, which is grab my Bacardi and go to the dock and grab my girl and go, you know, and it's this little thing. You know, they gotta put the alcohol in there, and they gotta put the grab a toke and the girl and the legs. It's, you know, a bunch of little pattery, and it's like, ugh.
It is like ugh. And what is, by the way, what is it with like country people after 1990 being obsessed with the beach? Like I that's the one thing I don't understand. It's like you're in the country, like there's no beach.
Right.
What is the beach? The Caribbean of all places. I can see if it's like Virginia Beach or Cape Hatteras or something, but you're talking about going down to Bermuda and the Bahamas. It's like, how are you even getting there? It's not part of the country scene for me.
Right, and the beach balls are going, and the babes are in the bikinis, and the guys are in their cowboy hats and shorts, and they're son of a beach, and oh my god, on the. Well, I was gonna. I'm trying to think of a song. It's not coming to me. But that's funny that you said that. I've never even thought about that.
It's so true. And I'm like I said, I'm not a country fan, so I don't know it well enough to know. But all I know is when I catch it, you know, in my periphery, all of a sudden. I just noticed stuff about pina coladas and Bacardi, and it's probably Garth Brooks' fault because I think he was probably he did that song Two Pina Coladas. I bet you he started it because it seems like after him, everybody's talking about sitting on the beach with the beer between my legs and the girl on my knee, and you know, it's like ugh. Stop it.
As the sun goes down, and I think Kenny Chesney. I think he's had several.
That's it. He
songs
was
in the sand and sun.
Yes, he was the first post-Garth guy to make it all about the goddamn beach.
Suntan Cowboy, right?
Yes.
Well, we had Glenn Campbell and Galveston, but that was a great song.
Yeah, well, yeah. But wait, is Galveston on the water? Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it?
Galveston, oh, Galveston. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you don't think of Galveston as...
Right, you're not thinking of Fort Lauderdale.
Right. No white sand and blue, you're not thinking that stuff. It may be true. I don't know. I've never been, but you don't think of it that way. The rest of the country doesn't think of it that way. And Glenn Campbell, that's the other thing, too, is like Glenn Campbell was a true talent. Dolly Parton was a true talent.
Sure.
Like that song Jolene.
And those songs are the songs Glenn sang, and of course Dolly's. I like early Dolly stuff a lot. I mean, that's the craft of songwriting.
Yes.
That is not just putting, phrases and little dilly-dally rhymes together just because the ear likes to hear them.
Yeah,
it's some serious storytelling.
There's another one. Two others that I remember as kids I had crushes on. Crystal Gale.
Oh yes,
and
yes.
The Barbara Mandrell.
Barbara Mandrell sleeping single in a double bed.
Well, see, I don't know any of their stuff. I just remember seeing them on TV a lot. And
were they?
What?
Yeah, they had, the Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell sisters, they had their own show, and Crystal Gale was on everything, it seemed like, with that long hair, and you just wondered, how the hell does she take care of that hair? And
I remember.
Loretta Lynn's sister, right? Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I did not know that. That's interesting.
And I don't know if you remember Sylvia. I loved Sylvia. You're nobody called today. Oh, she was amazing.
No, see, that's the thing. Like, the whole country music world was like a separate world from the non-country world, And but there was more of a. It seemed like there was more of a crossover then. Like, you would have I remember. I don't know, like some kind of TV specials, usually hosted by Bob Hope or something. And then you'd have the Mandrell sisters and Smokey Robinson and, like
Donnie
just this.
Marie.
And Donnie Marie. And this like
Farrah Fawcett, Lee Majors would come out.
Yeah, exactly. And you would have this eclectic mix of artists where it's not, you don't get that now. It's like, you've got country music on this channel. You've got R&B on this channel. You've got shitty pop on MTV. I know you don't even have that anymore. They don't play music, but it's somewhere, I'm sure. And it's just, there isn't this like coming together of all these different styles and stuff that you used to have back in the 80s when I was a little kid.
Those are variety shows.
Variety shows, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're listening to country in Tennessee. When do you get out of Tennessee? How do you get out of Tennessee?
Oh, man. Well, like I said, I was in a lot of clubs. I was, editor of the school yearbook. I was very involved, but I was not a academic. I just didn't like learning things that I didn't care about.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
And algebra and algebra 2 about made me want to jump off a building. I just didn't get why I needed to know this stuff. And my teacher, when asked about it, would say, you might build a deck one day, and this will come in handy. And I informed her I'd hire someone to build. Yes. And I said, I'll hire someone to build a deck. I'm tortured by this. So I, in my senior year in high school, I had auditioned to be in a pop singing group called the UT Singers, University of Tennessee Singers, at the university. And they were like 10 guys and 10 girls, and we sang songs and danced on risers, and it was all very silly, but tons of fun. And I got in that group, and so I started college at the University of Tennessee. I was in this pops group. I was a theater major. I was doing a musical of Carousel. And a girl in this pop group named Becky Duncan was a model. And she was modeling for the Knoxville News Sentinel, the Knoxville paper, and doing a picnic scene. And they wanted a guy to be in the scene with her. She said, will you model with me for this thing? And I'm like, sure. And so we did a picnic scene with wine and cheese on a blanket. And, I snuggled up next to her and tried to be as romantic and sexy as we could. I'm 18, by the way,
So what do you know? Yeah.
What do I know? And it comes out in the Sunday paper, this big color picture. And I get a call from the local modeling agency, Rasnick's Models. And the lady there wants to see me, interview me. So I go, and Rasnick's Models was in an old dairy barn.
Okay.
So I go to the dairy barn to interview, and she's like, I think you could model. We're going to a modeling convention in 2 weeks. You should come with us. And agents from all over the world discover new models. And I'm like, what? And it's $800. And I was like, my mom works in a drugstore. I don't think anybody's going to be coughing up $800 for for the kid to go to modeling, convention. And she's like, we don't have many boys going. I'll pay for it. You can come for free.
Wow.
So I had to have some pictures made, which a girl in my neighborhood, we went up into the woods. Of course, there's woods near our house. Mm-hmm. We take some pictures of what a country boy thinks is modeling.
Right.
And I go to this modeling convention, and I get snatched up by elite models in Dallas.
Wow.
And the guy's like, we do all the catalogs in Dallas. I know you can do these catalog modeling work. I'm like, sign me up, because I don't like school.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I don't have to go to psychology at 7:40 a.m. in the snow on a hill.
Ugh.
And so I was like, this sounds really good. But I thought, well, I don't have money. I can't just go to Dallas and live.
Right.
And on the bulletin board in the music department, I saw auditions for Six Flags Over Texas.
Okay.
Wanted singers and dancers. I'm not much of a dancer, but I'm a pretty good singer. I thought, I'm going to get in the Six Flags show in Texas. Then I'll have a job, and then I can start my modeling career.
Mm-hmm.
So I get on a Greyhound bus, 24 hours.
Ugh.
And I go down to audition on a Friday in Arlington, Texas. And they call me back for Sunday to come in and sing again. So I hang around and I go back on Sunday. And by that Sunday afternoon, I've been cast in the Crazy Horse Saloon show as a singing cowboy. But they start rehearsals on Wednesday. I have to go back on a bus, drop out of college, grab some stuff, say goodbye to my mom, who was hysterical. You're my baby. You're supposed to be the last to leave. Later, this is my big chance, I've got $65. I remember I had $65 back on the bus to start rehearsals for Six Flags. Get there, start rehearsals. The next week, I get an audition for Dr. Pepper for a print ad, a national print campaign called Party Time is Pepper Time. My new agent sends me, I go, and these people have portfolios from Europe and Japan. Some of them have 2 portfolios, and I've got my hillbilly portfolio from Tennessee.
You took in the woods.
And I'm like, I'm so out of my league. What do I think I'm doing?
Right.
And of course I get the job,
Yes.
Yeah. And so I worked for that season in Six Flags Over Texas. Then I modeled professionally for 5 years. Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So you're making you're doing the Six Flags thing, you're doing the modeling, and you're able to put a roof over your head and do all that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Bought my first new car. I was doing really well.
Good.
And I also sang some at a dinner theater in downtown Dallas. And that was kind of where I grew up.
Were you trained as a singer, or did you just have a knack for it?
I had a knack for it, and then I was trained in, I took some
lessons,
classes in college, and then I had voice teachers pretty much everywhere after that to really learn what I was doing.
Okay.
But I wasn't really acting. I was more singing and posing for catalogs, which was crazy stories. I'm actually writing a show called I Was an 80s Male Model, because there are the craziest stories you could possibly imagine about
I would imagine.
being a male model. And Is
it like Zoolander, where they have their signature looks and they all get competitive over silliness?
No.
Oh, damn it.
No signature looks.
Oh, you just ruined my idea.
Yes, it is. It's exactly like Zoolander.
There you go. Thank you.
Blue steel all the way. But it was, it was crazy. And I I was an underwear model, and because you had to have a flat stomach and not too hairy. And so we would, model briefs for Target and JCPenney's and everything else.
Right. So what was your first acting gig? Like actual acting?
Well, I left Dallas. I was writing music, which I still do, and moved to Nashville. I started doing shows at the Barn Dinner Theater in Nashville, Tennessee. One of those old dinner theaters where the stage rises up into the ceiling and then lowers down.
Oh.
They were called magic stages, and they were all over the country. They were like, a gimmick to get people to come see the shows.
Right.
And then I needed a job while I pursued my songwriting that I was then doing. And I ended up being an agent.
Oh.
A talent agent.
Huh.
And we handled 500, me and another agent handled 500 models and actors.
Wow.
From age about 3 to 93. And I was Reese Witherspoon's agent. She was a kid. She was like 11 and 12.
Yeah.
She was doing local ads for Dillard's. And when I remember the first thing I was calling the center on, the other agent's like, just give the information to Reese. You don't have to talk to her parent. She can take care of it. She'll get to the audition. Wow. She already had, that personality that was going to get there and get on time.
Yeah, right.
And then I was sending models and actors to a Reba McEntire music video that they were doing. Mm-hmm. And it was going to be in the 1940s. They wanted everybody with really Norman Rockwell looks. And it's a mother and a father and a girlfriend and a boyfriend and a little kid. And I'm sending people over. And we've cast everything. But still a week into it, they're like, we can't find the guy. He's red-haired, round features, Norman Rockwell, tall. I'm like, I'll be right there. And so I walked in. They're like, we've been talking to you all week. You're exactly the guy, Uh-huh. They were looking for Richie Cunningham. And so I quit because I couldn't book myself as an agent. That was told to me when I started an agent. You can't book yourself because you can't compete against the talent.
Right.
So I quit my talent agent job to do a Reba McEntire video, Sunday Kind of Love. It's the song. So
wait, you quit
I quit the agent job to do $100 to do a video that paid me $100.
Wow. Yeah, because it's a video, not a series.
No, it was a music video.
So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now, how old are you at this time?
That was 1986.
88. It was 88. Some Kind of Love or Sunday Kind of Love was 1988, according to IMDb.
That's right, because I moved to
I-40 Paradise, where you played Rusty, was 1986, as was Dallas the early years, when you were the young ranch hand.
That was done actually in Dallas, where they filmed, South Fork. Boy, that talk about a flashback.
Well, there you go. You're welcome.
But yeah, I did that, and then I started some acting classes in Nashville. Met a manager in New York who wanted to represent me, and so then in the late 80s, I moved to New York to really study the craft of acting.
Okay.
And so that's kind of when it started that I was going to pursue acting and get as good as I possibly could. And lived in New York, poorer than a church mouse, so poor.
Yeah.
Like a can of tuna was like, oh my God, we got a can of tuna for dinner. And studied, I heard the Tom Berenger interview, and he's talking about studying at HB Studios down in the Village, which is Uta Hagen and Herbert Berghoff. And so I studied down at HB for 2 years. And the same as Tom, he ended up on One Life to Live. I ended up on One Life to Live.
I was just going to say, it looks like you were on One Life to Live, 2 episodes, it looks like, as a police officer and a waiter.
And a waiter. Well, they called him recurring because I came back as
other people.
The police officer.
Oh, okay.
No, I was a police officer several times.
Gotcha.
Brought me back for that.
So what is it? Because I asked Tom, and I'll ask you. It seems like a lot of actors got their start in soap operas, and is that like a proving ground for actors, or is it just? Am I just seeing a coincidence that really isn't there?
Yeah, I don't know. It does seem like several, especially when you look at some big names that started off in soaps. I don't know if it's because it's such a high turnaround. They're doing something new every day that more people get a chance to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm not sure what it is, but I was really grateful to start getting something.
I'm sorry, I'm hung up on soaps here. Are soaps like? Is that like the dream job? Because like you think of, my mother used to watch, what the hell is it called? Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
And that Deirdre Hall has been on that show for 80 years. And before her, MacDonald Carey was on that show for like 80 years until he died. And so like, it seems like if you can get that one part that the whole show is centered around, basically, that you've got a career and you've got a job the rest of your life, unless you screw it up by asking for more money or being a jerk or something like that. But it seems like, is that like the thing? Like do people want to get that, or is it movies? Is that the goal?
I think it depends on the actor. I think some can do that and feel like they're fortunate and they've got an acting job, and that's fine with them. But some want to do, different characters other than Bo and Hope for the rest of their lives.
Bo and Hope.
Bo and Hope, and Luke and Laura. Wasn't that the big thing too?
I think that was that other one. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it just depends on the actor. I personally I'm a character actor. I like playing really different people. That's what that's what I geek out on is character development and getting under the skin of why this person does what they do. But even playing a police officer or a waiter on One Life to Live, I was still doing my actor thing.
Yeah.
I was like, can I go to the set and go to the police station set and I would go and pretend I was doing things and getting files and getting all into character, and they were probably like, what's this little guy with 5 lines doing?
But that's good though, you take your job seriously.
Well, I just remember my acting teacher in New York, one of them saying, don't get lazy, because actors will start getting parts and they'll start getting more work and they'll stop doing the work. You know, they won't do the biographies of the person. They won't do, you know, all the kind of research and stuff. And so I always remember that when I work on parts is don't get lazy and just think I got this.
Right. 1993 was a pretty big year for you. You had Demolition Man that came out. It looks like came out first. And then, of course, Gettysburg, which is what this show is about, Gettysburg. But I noticed something else here, though, Trent. I'm looking past Gettysburg. You were on Unsolved Mysteries a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen. You were on an episode of Ellen.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Gods and Generals.
Thank God for Gods and Generals.
Is that sarcastic or?
No, that was such a sweet gig. I'll tell you about it.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get to Gettysburg, and then we'll move on to Gods and Generals. So Gettysburg, how do you get that role?
Well, in New York, one of my acting teachers was an older man who, in the winter, would go to Florida. Mm-hmm. And one winter, he was going to Florida, and a casting director named Joy Todd was taking over his class. And I'm like, well, I'm not taking from her. What does she know about acting? Yeah, this is how clueless I am about the way show business works.
The casting director doesn't know about acting.
Yeah, it's like, what? I want to take from an acting teacher, not some casting director. You know, I'm not paying money for that. Everybody's like, it's Joy Todd. Do you know what she's cast? Do you know what? Are you crazy? And some of my friends talked me into taking the class. And I learn about film acting and the art of film acting, why it's different than stage acting, and learn a lot from her. And she kind of takes me under her wing. You know, she'll buy us dinner after class. And she decides she's going to help me out. And she cast me in Scenes from a Mall, which we shot in Queens Astoria. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to get my SAG card. And there's only certain ways you can get your Screen Actors Guild card. But if you can get 3 SAG vouchers, which means you get to work as a union performer because a union performer didn't show up that day. If you can get 3 of those, you can join SAG. She said, if you'll work for me for 45 days, I bet in that time I can get you 3 vouchers. Well, I did. But I only got 2 vouchers. I never got my 3rd to join Screen Actors Guild.
Okay.
She moves to New York. She moves to Los Angeles. Not long after that, I moved to Los Angeles because I was tired of being cold and hungry. I thought if I'm going to be cold and hungry, I'll be warm.
Yeah, be warm and hungry.
Yeah. And plus everyone was saying, you're going to do film and television. I would move to LA. I think that's where you're going to actually get the most work. Sounds good. Mm-hmm. So I moved to LA. I contacted Joy Todd, who was already out here. She was casting Gettysburg, which was called Killer Angels when they were first starting.
Right.
And she calls me in. And I've got scenes. I think I had 3 scenes. They were for one of the leads. And it must have been for C. Thomas Howe's part. One of them must have been, because that's the only reason I would have the scene with the rebel prisoner in it. Okay. Because I didn't have the whole script. I just had scenes from the movie.
Gotcha.
So I'm preparing with my acting teacher. I was studying method acting from a lady named Lori Hall, who's taught for Strasberg for many, many years. And she's looking through this scenes and she's like, here's your part. I'm like, what? She said, this rebel prisoner is your role. I said, they didn't call me in for that. They called me in for, Chamberlain, whoever. And she's like, I'm telling you, this is your role. I'm like, Lori, she said, we're preparing you for both roles. I'm like, she said, yes, when you go in an audition, at the end of the audition, you go, do you have 5 minutes so I could read the rebel prisoner? And I'm like, what? She said, yes, that's what you're going to do. I'm like, all right. So we prepare me for both roles. I go in and I audition for Joy Todd, and I do the one that's probably going to go to a star name. And I say, can I read for the Rebel Prisoner? She said, oh, sweetheart, we're going to cast that in New York just because it's cheaper for us to put someone on a train than to fly them first class across country. So we're going to be casting that, probably in New York. I said, could you have 5 minutes? Can I just read it? And she said, yeah, sure, do it for me. So I did it. And she sat there and she goes, I'm going to have you come back and do that for Ron Maxwell next week. And I said, okay. And she said, but honey, you look too clean. I'm like, what? She said, do not shave, do not bathe this week. Do not think of washing your hair. She said, you need to come in looking like you've been through the war. And I was like, oh. I said, okay. Told my acting teacher, she said, okay, you got to go dirty and you got to roll in the dirt. And I rolled in the dirt and I put twigs in my hair and I spit on myself and I might have peed down my leg a little bit. I don't know. But I was disgusting.
Oh, God.
I was disgusting. And I went back to the audition and I was in character. I was a method actor, man. Let me tell you. Wow. I wouldn't even sit in a chair. I sat on the floor by a wall with actors walking by me like, what's this dude
Who's this homeless guy?
Know?
Yeah.
Like,
were they giving you money?
Come on, dude, give it up. No, they knew I was an actor, but like, it was like, oh, come on, guy.
Right. Get over yourself.
Get over yourself. Yeah. Well, come on. You don't have to do all that. So I went in the room with Joy Todd and Ron was there. And I sat in the chair and Joy starts some small talk, which a lot of times they do at auditions just to get to know the actor. Mm-hmm. She starts a little small, and then she looks at me. She goes, I think we should start the scene. She got it, that I was seeing. I was in character. So I do it. I do what I rehearsed. Felt good about it. Got back home. A week went by. 2 weeks went by. A month went by. 6 weeks went by. Like, damn, I thought I did good. I thought I did a great. What the heck? I feel like it was 2 months. It was a long time. I get a phone call. Joy Todd. Sweetheart, you got the movie. I was like, what? She said, Ron's here with me. You're on speakerphone. He's like, congratulations. She's like, you got the movie. We auditioned every actor in New York. Nobody did what you did.
Nice.
I'm like, what? And I'm just like, I cannot believe it. Could not believe it. She said, I'll be sending the script over. All this stuff will be coming. And I got off the phone and I called my mom. And I was like, Mom, I got the movie. And I was so emotional. She thought I said, I've got the mumps. She said, the mumps? How did you get the mumps? I said, not the mumps. I got the movie.
So what was her reaction when she realized you were saying movie? Was she happy?
Oh, she was, super excited, just, proud and couldn't believe it and, wanting to know what it was and everything about it. And, I didn't even know that much. I didn't know exactly who all was in it or who was cast or how big it was going to become.
Yeah. Now, were you a history buff at all before this or since, or is it not really a thing?
I love history. I love stories of people. Mm-hmm. That's probably why I like country music so much. So I love it. I've always had an old soul. I was like a kid who wanted to be around the old folks.
Yeah, me too.
I loved elderly people. I loved hearing stories and so as far as school, learning history, I just didn't want to learn what somebody was going to teach me.
Yes.
So I wasn't that interested then. And I was just a kid. I didn't have I don't know. But today I do love history. I remember, reading Killer Angels. I remember reading stuff about people of the time and correspondence between, like a boyfriend and a girlfriend who were in battles and back home. And
we actually have a show coming out on Valentine's Day covering that. Love letters from home, and some of them are a little tawdry. So, we threw those in there because that's part of life.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah, but it is interesting. So, okay, so you have I would say maybe a casual interest in history. Is that a fair assessment of your?
Yeah, I definitely. If it's something related to acting, a part or a role I'm going to do the research.
Right.
And I'm going to read what I get my hands on. And like I said, I geek out on doing the actory work.
Who is Michael Tennessee Lee?
Well, my name currently is Trent Walker, but Trent Walker is a stage name. I was not born Trent Walker.
Oh.
I was born, back we go to Oak Ridge Hospital. I was born Michael David Lee.
Okay.
When I finally got my SAG card, which I actually got from being on a soap opera, because of that soap opera, I made enough money, and that was before SAG and AFTRA joined together. There was a contract called the Sister Union contract. If you made enough money through one union, you could join Screen Actors Guild. That's how I ended up joining. After 11 years, trying a long time to try to get my SAG card.
Yeah, that's really hard to get a SAG card, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they try to make it prestigious and, not that just everyone can get it. You got to kind of pay some dues before you do. And,
right.
And talk about dues. I think it was $600 and something when I joined, but now it's like $3,300. It's real expensive. So I was born Michael David Lee. When I joined SAG, someone already had that name. So I tried to be Lee David Michaels, David Michael Lee. I tried every form of those three common names, Michael, David, and Lee, and nothing was going to, nothing was working. And so the same casting director, so when I had to be something different when I signed the contracts for Gettysburg. So I'm like, well, I'm from Tennessee. I'm playing a guy from Tennessee. I'm just going to be Tennessee. I'll be Michael Tennessee Lee. And I actually almost changed my name to Tennessee, and then was told you're going to be playing Southern characters the rest of your career if your name is Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't mind playing Southern characters. And
right. I am from the South.
I am from the South and very proud of it.
Yeah.
And actually, when I got to New York, my manager would not send me to auditions for 6 months until I went to voice classes, speaking, losing my Tennessee accent.
Okay.
And what is the first role I get? Is playing, is the Gettysburg role. So, we're like, can you do a Tennessee accent? I said, I think I could handle that.
So when we look at the credits, you're credited as Michael Tennessee Lee and not Trent Walker?
Yep. When the credits roll, Rebel Prisoner, Michael Tennessee Lee.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
Very
there you
interesting.
go, ladies and gentlemen. Go look for that.
And then by 85, when I did another movie, I had the same casting director was into numerology, which I like numbers, but I'm not really into numerology. She had a numerologist do my numbers and come up with what my new name was going to be. And so I went over to her house, and the numerologist was there, and he had 7 first names and 9 last names. And he said, you can do any combination of these names. And I was like, well, I want something that's good for movies. I want something that's still good for music, because I still write and sing country music. And then when I got to Trent, I'm like, well, Trent's a great name for country music and for acting. And then Walker, I was like, well, she's like, that's what I picked, Trent Walker. I'm like, all right. She said, you're Trent Walker. I'm like, okay.
That's how it goes. Huh.
That's where it came from. Yeah.
So you get the role. How long after you get the role is it before they start shooting?
I really don't know, but I don't think it's long.
Okay.
It's less than a month. I'm thinking it's a couple of weeks.
Oh,
The
wow.
limousine showing up in front of my apartment, and scripts are coming through FedEx, and first class tickets are coming. You're like, what? What's going on here? You know?
Awesome.
You know, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm thinking it was 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, so then 2 or 3 weeks, and then how many days were you filming?
1 day.
1 day.
At the crack of, I remember the morning was super, super early.
Yeah.
Do you know the location, by the way, where that was shot?
I'd have to go and look at it and see if I could pick it out, but off the top of my head, no, I don't. Why, do you?
Yeah, I don't. I feel like I've been told.
Describe it. Maybe I could guess it. Do you remember anything about it?
I feel like it was someone's farm, that it was an individual's.
Oh, well, then it's probably what they call the movie location, where most of the stuff for the movie was filmed there.
Okay.
So, like, there's the barn where General Hood and Longstreet, Longstreet goes to visit Hood in the barn that's a hospital. That's there. Mm-hmm. The fields were used for a lot of the stuff. In the 90s, I went to, I think it was the 135th reenactment, and it was out at that site as well. They held the reenactments out there for a while, and they would construct the the Emmitsburg Road for Pickett's Charge and all that stuff. And there's a scene where Longstreet is sitting on a fence and Hood comes up to him, and there's this giant hill behind him. Mm-hmm. And I know that's not on the battlefield, because there's no hill that big that I can think of on where Longstreet would have been. So I know they didn't shoot that there, but I do know, because I stood on that hill, I believe, during that reenactment, and it was like behind the Union lines, and I watched Pickett's Charge come across the field below. And I do believe that was that hill. And I also am going to guess that was probably the same hill that Chamberlain gave his speech on in the beginning of the movie. But anyway, yeah, so then I do know where it is. If you come out ever to visit Gettysburg, I'll take you there.
Okay.
And you can.
I feel like I met the man who owned the place, or
probably.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't really remember where I stayed.
Were you just here long enough to shoot your scene, or did you hang around a while?
I was there for several days, because I remember walking around Gettysburg and going into a lot of the shops, and people asking, just talking to people, and then finding out I was in the movie. I remember signing stuff. I feel like I signed a wall in some store. And I signed a lot of stuff, I remember, for people when they found out that I was there for the movie. It'd be interesting to know what I signed or who I met.
Yeah.
Is there like a little museum?
There's back
then, what would there have been?
Oh, back then there. Well, that's a little before my time, but I'm pretty sure a lot of things were there that are still there today, or here today. But I mean, there was a wax museum that had wax figures and stuff, and there were actually a few of those. There were lots of museums. The visitor center for the park that had that down in the basement, it was just full of all different types of guns, like probably a couple. It had to be a couple, or at least 1,000 guns. I don't know how big the collection was, but it was just this labyrinth of guns. It was fantastic. Yeah, so there were museums all over the place.
Yeah, I feel like almost everything you went in, there was an artifact or a little glass case with some stuff. And
yeah.
So I remember, being around Gettysburg. It was probably before I shot. A few days before. And then, yeah, we shot that scene one day, bright and early. I remember showing up, and there was, you know, it was foggy or hazy, or it was misty. I think that was more what it was. And having a little breakfast and just standing there looking out over the land, you know, getting ready for the day. The sun was definitely not up for a long time. And they got us all in costumes and pulled out the guys who were going to be standing there with me. I don't know if Ron had already decided he was going to have the Winslow Homer painting come to life. Because when you look at that, it's like, it looks like it's a painting of me.
Yeah.
It looks so much like me. It's like, wow. That's kind of creepy. Same build, kind of bone structure in the face. I'm like, wow, that's...
I would imagine he already did have that plan, because you don't kind of... That's something I think that you would plan ahead with the DP, right?
You know, you're right, because they made sure I had the bedroll and the hat was the right way.
Yeah.
Exactly, because they made sure I looked like that guy, which I didn't know at the time. I had no idea that that was
they just
even...
placed you. So what do you remember? So the scene with you and C. Thomas Howell, did you have any, what are your memories of doing the scene?
I remember, I knew beforehand I had to know that part inside and out, because I'm like, anything on a set, especially a set like that, there's going to be people walking, there's horses, there's people playing in a band, there's a lot going to be going on, and I got to be crazy focused to do this part. And I'm sure I did it 1,000 times, that role. I never stopped doing it until I got to that set and working on it and fine tuning it. I mean, every word meant something. That was no just, flying by the seat of my pants. Someone recently on, I think it was YouTube, said, "Hey, you were a reenactor and they just pulled you out that day?" I'm like, no, that's not how that happened at all.
No.
I love the reenactors, and they certainly made that movie, but no, that took a lot of work.
Yeah. Now, so you go through that, and the reason why you had it down so much was because of all those moving parts, and everybody has to start from the beginning and go back to one, as you guys call it. And is that why you were so certain to do it?
I knew it was my first studio movie. I knew it was a big deal, and I couldn't mess it up. I had to nail it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. I had to freaking get that part right and not hold up production, and make sure Ron knew that he hired the right guy.
Made the right decision, sure.
I don't remember. I think Ron said hi to me. I remember, and we started shooting, and I didn't see much of him. He wasn't like there giving me a bunch of notes or really. He was letting me do my thing. The only time is after a take, he came up just to make sure I was saying rats.
Right.
That's the only note I got from him. And so I was just left there, to do the long shot, the 3/4 shot, the close-up shot. We were just rolling from to scene.
Right. Yeah. Now the note about the rats, though, just because we talked about this before we started the show, but for the sake of the audience, why would he have to give you a note about the word rats?
Well, you want to make sure I wasn't saying rats.
Right.
He wanted the A in there. That's what it was.
Because the joke doesn't work unless it sounds like rats.
Unless you think it's rats.
Yeah.
Unless wow, this dude from Tennessee, when he says rights, it sounds like rats. And then he questions me, fighting for your what? And I repeat it. I'm fighting for my rats. All of us here. That's what we're fighting for. I'm fighting for my rats.
Now, Do you know the historical inaccuracy of that scene? I mean, there's a couple, but the big one that actually comes out of your mouth?
No.
This is a nerd thing.
Good.
But you claim that you're from Archer's Brigade and you were captured in the railroad cut.
Right. Just west of Gettysburg.
Right. Which is just west of Gettysburg, but Archer's Brigade did not fight in the railroad cut.
I had read that somewhere. Someone had
probably
said
in the comments under the video.
Uh-huh.
Because, people don't pull any punches. They'll tell you when you're wrong.
Yeah, sure. Well, a lot of them let me have it. Like, the South's view is this. And I'm like, guys, I'm an actor.
Right.
I didn't write the script. I just did the words.
I don't understand that. I never got that. I've actually had somebody come up to me after listening to this show, and she actually took notes. And it was somebody I had met, and I told her about the show, and then so she went and spent the week listening to various episodes, and actually took notes on them. And then I saw her the following week, and she said, "I have notes on your show. I listened to it, and so here." And she started with all the positive notes, and then she said, "But Jenny Wade is a slut." And I go, "What?" And she's like, "You said Jenny Wade is a slut," and I said, "No, I didn't." And she's like, it was on that episode that was recorded at the Farnsworth house. And I said, that was Tim Smith, who is a local historian. That was his lecture about Jenny Wade. And he was talking about how she was the only civilian casualty in the battle. And so he was talking about how after the war, and she was the famous civilian. Some people, they're resentful or whatever, and so they crap on her when a newspaper man asks, "Oh, did you know Jenny Wade?" "Oh yeah, she was a slut." That's basically what he was saying that this woman had said. So he was quoting a woman, but I was the one getting blamed, and she actually and she thought I said Jenny Wade was a slut, and I had explained to her. I was like, "No, that was another person giving a lecture." And I explained to her the background of that, so she understood that it's history, and she backed down. And I go, "Why would you think it's me?" And but she goes, "Well, you could have edited it out." And I go, "Well, then I'm censoring another person, and I don't believe in that." So, and also, you're an adult; you should be able to handle the word slut.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it was a real thing that happened. That lady was not nice. Anyway.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the way people are. They don't know who to blame. They just want to yell at someone,
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone has, there's such strong views of the history of it all.
Yeah.
And different viewpoints of it. Like I say, I'm the actor that shows up and puts on the costume.
Right.
Hopefully knows the lines but
now here's another here's something that people seem to be confused about. You're in Gettysburg. You're fighting for your rats.
Mm-hmm.
But then you die at the Battle of Chancellorsville a month earlier in Gods and Generals.
Yeah, because I was a different character.
2 months earlier. Yeah, so they don't get that. They just recognize, hey, it's the fight for his rats guy, but he's dead. How does this work?
He's alive. He's alive.
So how does... Okay, Gods and Generals now. You before you said, thank God for Gods and Generals. Why? What was going on that was such a godsend for you?
Well, it was such a godsend 10 years later that they're now going to do Gods and Generals and have the money to do it. And Ron wanted to use so many of the same actors.
Yeah.
So I mean, thank God for that.
Right.
And it's a bigger role. I mean, there's a lot more scenes, and we still had to audition. The guy who plays Pogue that I'm in
your buddy,
all my scenes with, my buddy. I didn't know him. Beau Gray is the actor's name until we went in and we auditioned together. The casting director, once again, Joy Todd, she's now passed away. And by the way, she cast me in Gettysburg, Gods and Generals, and Demolition Man.
Oh, yes.
3 major films, and yeah, I miss her not only as a friend, but she was definitely on my side and really believed in me, and that helps in this.
Nice to
this
have
town.
people like that.
It's just, there's so many people trying to do it. I mean, competition just to get in the door, is unbelievable. It's not an easy business where anything is given to you. You gotta get in there and work, and you got to be good when you get in,
right?
Or they won't call you back again.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Gods and Generals. She knew Bo, who played Pogue, and she thought we'd work well together as kind of the Laurel and Hardy,
Okay.
Because we're kind of the comic relief.
Yes.
Of it, say silly things and who give us fresh shoes when there ain't nothing left of these but tatters and old bits of laces.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of a silly thing. Remind me to tell you a quick story about that scene.
Okay.
So we get Gods and Generals, and we kind of don't know how long it's going to take. I think we had 7 scenes total. How long it's going to take. We get there to shoot. We stay at the Plaza Hotel. Is that what it's called?
Where? In New York?
No, we're in we're around that area. Hagerstown?
Hagerstown. I don't know if they have a plaza. Go ahead. I'll look that up while
anyway,
you're talking.
it's a very nice hotel. The first day we get to set to shoot, they shoot 4 of our scenes.
In one day.
We're just barreling through them. And we're learning bayonets, and we're doing, they're just putting us through it that day. And we look at each other, we're like, damn, we're going to be on this set for a week. We thought this was going to be long. We thought we were going to be here a while,
Yeah.
Well, we shoot those 4 scenes, go back to the hotel. Days go by, we're not on the call sheet. A week goes by, we're not on the call sheet. 2 weeks go by, we've not been called back. And we still have scenes to shoot. We're going to shoot your night scene. No, we can't shoot it this night. We're going to shoot where the bats are flying into each other, that scene. It's so dark, the bats are flying into each other. And I still haven't done the campfire scene. I think that was the last one.
Where you predict that you're going to die?
Where I predict, yeah, that one. And then literally weeks have gone by. We've not worked. And they say, we're flying you guys back to LA. We don't need you for a while. And so they fly us back, and we're pissed because we're like, damn, we were on the clock. We were making per diem. They were showing up with cash, in our hotel room. We were making weekly, our whatever rate, and we were racking in some money. So we get back to LA, and I call the casting director. I'm talking to her, and I said, I hate that we're not making the money. I mean, we're sitting around making money. And she's like, oh, honey, you're making the money. I'm like, no, we're sent back. She said, oh, no, I wrote your contract where it's a weekly contract, not a day player or whatever she did. She said, oh, you're getting paid right now.
Oh, lucky you.
We're like, what?
They're sending you home and paying you?
They paid us for 4.5 months.
Oh, man. And how much shooting did you do in 4.5 months? Like how many days? Roughly.
1 or 2. Oh, well, no, we did those first scenes in like a day or a day and a half.
Yeah.
And then the last 3 we had not done, which I think were the nighttime scene, the one where he does the backy across the
river, the Potomac.
Yeah. Potomac.
Or the Rappahannock. Whatever.
And I think my campfire scene, the premonition scene, I think that's what was left. They wanted to wait, of course, for winter to do the Potomac, the backy scene. And so then they fly us back out to do the rest of the scenes. The last day of shooting was the river scene. Because that's when the champagne was popped. And they wrapped that puppy up. But yeah, we were on payroll for over 4 months.
That's pretty sweet. Nice work if you can get it, right?
Sweet. It was, we knew Bo still, every time he talks, he said, we'll never have a deal like that again. That doesn't happen anymore.
No.
These days, he's like, that's never going to, I know. I said, I know. That was one sweet paycheck.
I hope you saved some of it.
I did.
Good.
Thank God.
Good.
And residuals are all counted on, how long you've worked. And so those Gettysburg checks and Gods in General checks are keep renting it, folks.
Still coming in, huh? Really?
Keep buying it. Buy extended version.
Oh, okay.
Watch it on TV.
Yeah, I bought the director's cut of both.
Oh, I made 4 cents. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, but that 4 cents adds up after 100 years.
Yeah, it adds up. It's crazy, because when it's streamed or played on television or whatever, you get paid.
So wait, you in Gettysburg, you have that one scene, and you get residuals for that?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. I make the most money in residuals off Demolition Man, and I worked a day on that.
Right.
But okay. I think because that was a bigger movie, or it's kind of like a cult favorite.
Yes.
People are still crazy over that movie. That's been really nice. And then Gettysburg, and then Guys and Generals. But yeah.
So that's interesting. How do you? I mean, that's not standard, is that? Is it like everybody who has a speaking part gets a residual?
Yeah, if it's gone through the Screen Actor, that's what the Screen Actor Guild does. That's where we pay our dues.
Oh,
they keep track of all that stuff. So,
wow,
it all has to go through a system, which is Screen Actors Guild for those residuals to be paid out to the actors.
I wish I had the talent and the moxie to have gotten into that business. It sounds fun and possibly lucrative.
Well, and there weren't always residuals. It's like the Brady Bunch kids.
Yeah.
There weren't residuals. There were always. But once they started, you get them when you die. So you write off your, who gets your residuals when you're gone. Yeah.
How many generations down can you pass that? Like, can they pass it to their kids?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you care? Because you'll be dead.
Yeah, I'll be gone.
It doesn't matter. So wait, you said there was a story about the tattered laces scene where you were talking about your shoes.
Well, I'm feeling like it was a first or second scene. So they line everyone up, and there's a lot of people in that scene. Yeah. I mean, that marching line is going all the way down a hill, and there's people in front of us, and I think the lines blue, green, red uniforms. How do we know who the enemy is? You dang fool, just shoot at who's shooting at you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a wild line. That's a voiceover. We didn't say that. We just said that at the end of the day shooting. We're not saying that marching. Mm-hmm, so that's just a voiceover,
Yep.
So we go up the hill and around, and Bo makes sure you'll notice that we're kind of off center from the line. If you watch that scene, because Bo, who played Pogue, who I was with, kept pushing us over. He said, "This camera's got to see us better." And he kept pushing us over further and further over to make sure that we got the shot. And it's kind of out of place because we're pretty far over there, We're not in a straight line with the people in front of us.
Right.
But the first take, I say, who give us fresh boots when there ain't nothing left of these but tatters and no bits of laces? Cut! What? Here comes Ron. Trent, fresh shoes, not fresh boots. I'm like, oh yeah, man, that's right. Well, we're wearing boots. It makes sense. We say boots, but no, the line is, who'll give us fresh shoes? So they got to line everyone back up and back down the hill. And I'm like, oh no.
They're going to hate you.
I've just cost a lot of production time right here on this fresh shoes. My mind is going, can't you just dub shoes or boots? I still don't even know what the line is. But yeah, we do that with a couple of times, I think. But yeah, I remember saying he'll give us fresh boots when the line was fresh shoes. But one of my friends calls me Tatters and no bits of laces.
Nice.
Whenever she gives me a birthday card, she says 2 tatters and no bits of laces. She just thought that was hilarious. Thought that was so funny.
So probably I'm going to guess the role you're most proud of, speaking of voiceovers, is doing a voiceover for one of my narrative episodes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes, most proud. That one, I have to tell you, was you were a godsend on that one, my savior, if you will, because I had tried so many people, friends. Most of the people that do the voices are just friends of mine. They're not actors, but they're very patient with me, and I I'm very particular, and I just direct them over and over again until it sounds the way I want it to sound, and then they do it. But anyway, but that one, nobody could get that one. And the funny thing about that story is, now for those of you listening at home don't know what we're talking about, it's in, blah, 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 blah. I think it's part 2 of episode 2. I'm not sure. It's in one of the episode 2 parts. And it's the story from a Confederate soldier talking about when they go skinny dipping in the river, and this message comes up from an old lady on a hill about a mile away saying, "You please tell your men not to bathe in the nude. I can see them through my brother's field glasses."
Our regiment was camped on the suburbs of a pretty Pennsylvania town. A stream was near the camp, and one afternoon I suggested to one of the boys in my company that we take a bath and a swim. They took to the idea, and likewise to the water, in quick time. There were no houses in the immediate vicinity, except for one on a hillside about a half a mile away, belonging to an old Spencer lady. We'd been swimming for a while when a boy trudged into camp in search of the captain. He had a note from the old maid which read, "Dear Sir, I wish you would order your men out of the stream. I can see them plainly through my brother's field glasses. Confederate soldier."
I learned that anecdote. It's in a book, but one of the licensed battlefield guides here in Gettysburg, who works for me with my other business, he always tells this story on the tours, and he delivers it very well. And he delivers he gets the humor of it, and his timing is good, and it's all, and the tourists always love it, and they always get a good laugh out of it. So I said, Bob, I want you to read this, the way you do on the tours. And he could not get it at all. And he was even trying to do this like phony baloney Southern accent, and it was just awful. And I said, I'm just going to release this as, just for people to laugh at one day. So you really did come in handy there, because I believe the soldier is from Tennessee, so it helps that you have a Tennessee accent and everything. But how much of an honor was it to work with me as your director?
Well, it really was an honor, actually. It was an honor. It was an honor for you to ask me, and for you to trust me to do it. And you told me how to set up my little studio, and how to have some clothes or a blanket or something to absorb some of the sound, and how to place my microphone. And no, I'm always honored to be, part of or associated with the movie Gettysburg, or someone remembers me, you want to do something that somebody remembers.
Right.
Who's the guy that makes the magnets that say "Fightin' for my rats"?
That is the bearded historian, or is it TR Historical?
I think it is.
Yeah, one of those guys.
Yeah. I don't know. One of them that said that he was going to give you one to send to me, but I still haven't got my magnet. My refrigerator needs it.
I never got a magnet. I got stickers though, but.
You know what? They might be They're probably stickers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He didn't send that one though, because I think he sent me 4 of them.
He sold out, of course.
Yeah, maybe. I'll have to see. I'll have to see.
I'll have to check with him. I know him from Instagram, but he's like, I'm going to send Matt some, and I'll make sure I send him one to send to you.
Yeah, I think he made the Fightin' for My Rats one after this first batch that he sent me. So I'll have to follow up with him on that.
But no, like I said, you're joking that I'm sure it was an honor, but it was an honor.
Yeah,
and
really.
I love that. I love that little
story.
The bit. I love that story.
Yeah.
When did you say it was? It's the second episode?
I think it's part 2 of episode 2.
Oh, I didn't know it was one of the first episodes. That's cool.
Oh yeah. Because we're not even at the battle yet. I'm starting to write that now. So I might need you again once I get some Confederate accounts in there if you want to do it.
I'd be happy to.
But no, I mean really, I was really joking about the honor working with me, because that's what the Hollywood types, you guys all talk about. Oh, it's such an honor and a privilege to work with such and such, and so that's what the joke was there. But really, truly, the honor is mine, because I'm nobody, and I've somehow meet you guys through social media, and I ask you to do it, and you don't go, well, my day rate is $800 or whatever. You just go, yeah,
God,
sure.
If they are, just hang up on them. It's just ridiculous. I live in Hollywood, but I'm a Tennessee boy, and all that stuff is so gross.
It is. It is.
I'm an actor because I like the craft of acting. I like storytelling of any form.
Right.
And you're telling stories. Sure, I want to tell a story. A lot of people are like, because I play so many characters, and I play racist sometimes, and I play, drag queens, and I play, educated people and not so educated people, and that's the beauty of being a character actor.
Sure. Did you play a Koch brother?
I did in Vice.
Yes.
I was one of the Koch brothers. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've done a lot of stuff here. Well, let's talk about the one thing that you mentioned, Instagram, and people who are listening who also follow you on Instagram I'm sure have seen your promos for Gers.
Gers. I'm telling you, that thing is it has helped me in this pandemic. Not only for something to do, but it's now on the film festival circuit, and I've won several awards.
Have you really?
And I've won Best Director Award and Best Web Series Award.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I'm writing an acting book for actors and teachers and anybody interested in doing scenes. And I wrote a scene about this gay couple who show up at a new neighbor's doorstep because they're nosy, because they've seen her and they've seen a man,
right?
And they just want to nose into her business. So they take a gift basket over, and they're just trying to get the scoop of who she is and what's going on.
Sure.
Can I help you? Hi. Well, aren't you pretty? Yes, I am. I'm Samuel, and this is Peter.
Hi.
Hi.
We want to welcome you to the neighborhood.
Oh. My.
I made the snickerdoodles, and Sam made the raspberry yum-yums.
It's my grandmother's secret recipe. Shh. They do look yummy. Oh, they are yummy. I ate 4 of them, and I feel like a little piggy.
He's always talking about his weight.
I am not.
Stop hitting me. I hit you back.
Well, thank you for stopping by, unannounced.
So during the pandemic, there's not many people going to sets, and I'm missing going to a set. And I thought, I'm going to just tape this scene on my phone, on my iPhone 8, and just see what it looks like. And so I tape it playing all the characters. And I show it to a couple of people, and they're like, this is really actually kind of good. I'm like, oh, shut up. And they're like, you should keep doing this. And I'm like, what do you mean keep doing it? And I'm like, could I do a web series of these characters? And then it just all started flooding to me about who the characters are and what they could be. And I had made her British just because I wanted her to be different than the guys, because I'm playing her too, you know. And I wanted the guys to be different. One's flamboyant, one's a country guy. And,
right. And then that's the thing is, not only do you write and direct and shoot and edit this, but you also play all the characters. Like, this is like the perfect pandemic project for an actor.
It is perfect, and it's been so fun. And you know, they say you're doing what you're supposed to be doing when you get lost in it, and it's just something you love. You know, and it's 2 a.m, and I'm doing scenes, and I'm like, I gotta get to sleep. You know, I can't keep shooting this thing, and you know, so it just becomes something. And you know, I've got some producers interested in it. My manager's like, keep doing it. So I'm doing a second season. I'm on the 4th. I've shot the 4th episode of the second season, so I've done 12 episodes.
Wow.
And I talk about learning so much about lighting and editing and the sound, and I do it all on my phone.
Yeah.
I edit it on my phone. I shoot it on my phone, you know, and I'm the cast and crew.
It's a real pain in the ass being a one-man show. You know,
especially when you're in drag. When I'm dressed like her, and I've got to move the lights around, or I've got to crawl under something to plug something in, and I'm like, oh my god, this is hell. You know?
Yeah, because you're crawling around in a dress.
Did Tootsie have to do this?
No,
I didn't see Mrs. Doubtfire didn't have to do this.
They had a whole crew do all that stuff.
But it's been fun, and you know, most people are like, oh, that's so cool, and some people are like, wait, you're the Fightin' for My Rats guy? And somebody wrote, like, that's a real stretch from the Fightin' for My Rats guy.
Well,
I'm a character actor. Come on.
Yeah, you're an actor. They're all stretches.
They're all, yeah.
No, but it is funny. I like the country boy. I think
Pete,
his reactions are pretty good, because it's. Do you have an origin story as to how those two got together, though?
I do. Yeah.
Have you done it yet? And I just haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. There's a flashback on how they met.
Oh, good. Because that's the one thing I can't figure. I'm like, how the hell did these two get together?
Oh yeah, the flashback. I think that's episode 5. Yeah, you gotta watch. So everybody watch it. It's on my YouTube channel.
Yeah. What is your YouTube channel?
Trent Walker is my YouTube channel. It's got the Gods and Generals clips and Gettysburg clips and this web series Gers and clips from other movies I've done. And
where'd you get the name Gers?
The scene I wrote for the book is called Nosy Neighbors. And then I thought, once I do a series, Nosy Neighbors, it's not all about them being nosy. And then I just started thinking of different things. Like, well, they're neighbors. They're gabers. They're gay neighbors. That's a gaber. And I was like, what is a gay? Is this something? Then, of course, in the Urban Dictionary or something, it is.
Oh, it already is a word?
Yeah. And I thought, well, I don't like to call my project something that's already been on IMDb, you know. And so I looked up, and there was not a Gabers. I'm like, no one's done the series Gabers? Well, jeez. Well, I'm claiming this.
It's not considered a derogatory term?
It's not. No, it's,
okay.
A gay neighbor is a Gaber.
Well, there you go.
Won't you be my Gaber? That's where the whole...
That would have been interesting if Mr. Rogers sang that one.
But coming up with the costumes and just coming up with, what can happen to these guys and what can, where can they go with her, what the stories can be, because when you break it down, it's about friendship and it's about love between these two characters, love each other, although they rib each other all the time.
Right.
And then where does she fit in? How does she become a friend?
Right.
And so it's been a lot of...
Who do you base these characters on? Like, well, with any of your characters that you've done, like, do you have someone in mind that you're basing them off of?
My friends are like, a couple have said, "Stop looking at me like that. You look at me like you're looking down through my soul." It's because I love studying. Like, I'm doing this short film of this guy because I saw this guy walking. It was such an interesting walk. And so I've planned a whole short film around who this guy is. So I'd say that these people, they're all aspects of me, you know. There's always truth. It's like even for the Fat and Fight My Rats guy, all those lines mean something to me personally.
Okay.
They all land somewhere. They're not just lines I'm saying. They're all, if you saw my notes in the script, you'd see that I have what that stuff means to me so that it comes out real.
Did you keep the script?
I think I did. I've got a bunch of stuff.
Do you keep all your scripts?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I learned to do that. I didn't know until after Gettysburg to always ask for a piece of the costume. Guys and Generals, they gave me my hat. They gave me the gold coin that still has blood all over it.
Oh, cool. And what is it, plastic?
So, no, it's metal. It's like they had it made. It's like, it looks like it's really cool. It's got weight to it. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's a cool thing. He had two, I guess, in case, something happened to one.
Right.
But the one I had in my hand with the fake blood all over it. I do have a story about that one. But yeah, I think they're all people I've known. I come from a crazy, kind of a wacky family. So they're aspects of family members or people in the neighborhood where I grew up. They're little bits, and some of it's just made up.
Right.
The Pete guy in Gers, who seems like he's had a bag of rocks. He hit over his head. He says words and things that are just kind of a little wacky. And I have a sister like that. She picks up words. And you're like, sniglet is not shenanigans, whatever she comes up with. I'm like, Mary, that's not a word.
Right,
Where did you come up with that?
Like, it's almost a word.
She said, well, that's when you such and such. And I'm like, no, that's not a word. Oh, I was going to say, Guys and Generals, one of the hardest scenes was the death scene where I get ripped in half with shrapnel. Mm-hmm. And then I rear back, and then I die with that gold coin in my hand, slowly opening my hand, which we shot several times. It was so choreographed that it felt choreographed.
Oh, really?
Because it needed to be the shrapnel hits you, the blood squirts, you go back, you go gasp for breath, you go back further, then you fall back. Yeah, there was nothing natural about it.
There's nothing natural, yeah. That is strange. Why? It's just because of the way the shot was set up that in order for it to land on the coin or something? Or
I think just the way it was shot up they had to pull focus, they have to follow me, so that has to be choreographed into pieces like that.
Okay.
But yeah, there was a whole lot of fake blood.
See,
and also those bayonets, when we jump over that wall, we had rubber bayonets. Uh-huh. And so we jump over and they would wiggle. You could tell they were rubber.
Right.
And the guy playing Pogue, my buddy in the scenes, he hated it. He was like, I hate these rubber bayonets. He's like, can't we have real ones? Can't we have real ones? And they're like, yeah, but be really careful, be really careful. We jump over the wall in one take. We pop down over the wall. This bayonet has gone up my pant leg and come out very close to my manhood.
To the business.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, that's why they gave us rubber bayonets.
Exactly. Oh, man. Yeah. Sometimes you watch these old war movies and you can see that. If you look closely, at the bayonets, you can see them kind of wiggling around. Rubber.
Now, do you know in Gods and Generals, that nighttime scene is in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I knew Ron had taken it out and in and out because he kept telling me, I had to take it out. I'm like, no, Ron, it's a great scene. I'll put it back in. I took it out. It's running too long. I took it out.
Wait,
I put it back in.
Which one are you talking about? At the campfire?
No, the one where we're laying looking at the stars. And he's like...
Oh, yes. I think that's in the director's cut.
I think it's still in...
Yeah. I don't know if it's in the theatrical release, but I think it is in the director's cut.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember.
Because I watched it like over the summer or sometime, and I do believe I remember that scene. It sounds.
But when we're training with bayonets, that's in the original one, right?
I don't remember. I don't know. Oh. The Gods and Generals, I don't know as much as Gettysburg. Gettysburg, I've seen, a million times, and I have, 10 years. Movie. Yeah, it's a great movie, and I don't know. Gods and Generals, to me, there was something about it that I just, it wasn't Gettysburg.
Yep.
Gettysburg. You could tell it was a different experience, even for the actors. Mm. There are some scenes that just seemed kind of like, "Hey, we're doing this again." You know what I mean? like where they have all the Confederate generals watching the show. The people are singing, the Bonnie Blue Flag and everything, and and they got to get Ted Turner in that one, and it's like, it's like okay, because he gets shot in Pickett's charge in Gettysburg, so I guess we got to get him in. But anyway, but still, I do like both of the movies, but Gettysburg's my favorite, though. I have such a, I must have gone through 2 VHS, packets, because they came in two tapes, before it went over to DVD, and now I have it on Amazon Prime. And I gave it to my friend Karen. I gave the DVD to my friend Karen because she loves Gettysburg. She's a huge history nerd. She loves reading. She's not much of a movie and TV watcher, and she lives out in Minnesota. But she comes out here a couple times a year to do these tours that we put on, and she's never seen the movie Gettysburg.
Wow!
And I'm like, what the hell is the matter with you? So I was cleaning out an old Tupperware bin that I had a bunch of stuff in, and there's the movie Gettysburg. And so she just moved. So I sent it to her as a housewarming gift. And I said, please watch this before you come out in June. So, because she doesn't get any of the references that we make when we make jokes, any of the lines that we quote. She's just like, it's just right over her head. So it's not fun when everybody in the group doesn't get the joke.
Yeah.
But it is a great movie, and Fighting for My Rats and Live and Let Live, I hear some folks say.
Live and let live, I heard some folks say. They might less fuss than bother if more folks took it to heart.
Yes.
I literally, like when you do it for 1,000 times, I will never forget those lines.
Yeah, that was like 30 years ago.
It really was. 28 years, right?
28 years, yeah. Now, are you? We're going to try. John and I are going to try to get another reunion going soon.
Awesome.
So hopefully you'll be able to come out for that.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. He's a good guy. I've signed many posters he sent my way.
Yeah, I keep telling him that my friends and I are gonna break into his basement and steal some of his collection.
Yeah.
He really should put it somewhere more secure than a basement.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah,
he wants my hats and my gold coin. I'm like, no, not for sale.
No.
Every time I talk to him, you ready to sell? I'm like, no. You ready to sell? I'm like, no.
Leave it to him in your will.
Exactly, and my residuals.
No. Leave me the residuals.
My residuals to you.
Yeah.
I'll leave those to you.
Yeah, I'll take the residuals. Give him the stupid hat and the coin.
Yeah, you can have a stupid hat.
Yeah.
I'll take the cash.
Yeah, I just want the money.
It's interesting. After Gods in General, one of my best friends now is Kali Rocha, who played Anna Jackson.
Oh.
And I didn't know her. They were doing a screening of Gods and Generals at Warner Brothers. And after it, we saw each other in the lobby, and we went to each other, and we're like, at the same time, you're the best thing in the movie. And we started, like, just getting in touch and hanging out, and now she's, like, one of my very best friends. That's all from Guys and Generals.
And does she mostly do comedic work?
Yeah, she's done both. I mean, she started out in, she did White Oleander and a lot of, theatrical things. And then she ended up doing a Disney show, playing a mom on Liv and Maddie.
That's it. That's where I saw her, because my ex-girlfriend's daughter used to watch that show all the time.
Oh.
There you go.
And she's on Man with a Plan, Matt LeBlanc's. She played Kevin Neely's wife, I guess, after that. So, yeah, she does, she was in the first Meet the Parents.
Yes, okay.
Yes, as the flight attendant who would let him on the plane.
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. Oh, God. Well,
good times.
Yeah, and speaking of good times, I've had a good time talking to you about Gettysburg and Guys and Generals and your career as in general. Thanks for doing this, Trent.
Absolutely. No, I'm happy to. That movie means a lot. I mean, Gettysburg started me out, and is still something I'm really, really proud of. After that, I kind of gave me confidence, like, okay, I know I can do this.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you should be proud of it. I mean, that year produced 2 cult classics for you.
It was funny. They were both. I was in both trailers for both movies.
Uh-huh.
And some theaters were playing both. You can imagine how excited my mother was that.
Yeah.
She was like, "What's happened? What's going on?"
Well, all those years taking up her garage, putting on plays, has paid off.
Yeah, she was like, "What are you doing down there? You weird kid."
Well,
another costume.
Well, you just
stop dressing your sister up.
I'm preparing
my sister was
for the
always,
future.
Little did I know, you know. I thought I was going to be a veterinarian or something. I didn't know you had to go to school for that. I thought you just had to love animals.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, you got to do more than that. What were you saying about your sister?
Oh, I was always, our house at Halloween was always the haunted house. So my sister was always in a coffin raising up as a dead body or something. Putting her in the show.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago we were on the Today Show, and
that's great.
My sister shared it proudly on Facebook, and she, mostly because she's like in the first shot with me in the Halloween costume as little kids, but one of the girls who grew up in our neighborhood down the street from us commented on it, and she said, from backyard parades to the Today Show finally paid off, or something like that, because we used to put on parades in the backyard and everything, and like the parents would just sit there and talk and totally ignore us, but we thought we were doing something.
Oh yeah.
But
just
anyway,
stay out of our hair,
Yeah. Well,
don't cause any trouble.
That's the thing. It's like, just stop trying to figure out what I'm doing and just let me do it. That was the thing growing up around people that weren't creative. It was that they're always like, "What the hell are you up to? Like, what are you doing?" And the answer is like, "I don't know," but it's interesting to me.
Let me figure it out. I mean, it's like when I was finished with high school and I was like, I want to go into, acting or singing. I mean, they just really were scratching their heads like, we don't know what to send you. We don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, haven't you seen Fame? Where's that place?
Right.
I want to dance on the tables in the lunchroom.
Yeah.
Where do you go for that? I really wanted to be in the arts, and no one was really. They just didn't know. they didn't know what they didn't know. So
most people don't
figure it out.
Yeah, they don't. Most people don't know how anybody gets into the arts. That's just a thing that just, oh, this person's in a movie that I go and see. Like, they don't understand how people get there. It's almost like they think that you're born there. And, it's hard to advise someone who wants to get into it how to get into it.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways of how people got into it.
Yeah.
Whether their family is in it or not, or who knows what. Some people get breaks early on, and some get them later, and some never get them. And, I know how fortunate I am that I've been in studio movies. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen to everybody. Not everybody even gets a gig.
No, and it seems to me that, like, you see someone, they're like all the talk, and then you go, well, let me Google this person, see what they're up to. And you find out, like, oh, they're related to, like the Vanderbilts or...
yeah. Her aunt was so-and-so. You're right.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
It's a very incestuous industry, but then there's people that aren't in it that find a way to get in it. And so, who knows? And
there's no guarantee just because your dad is so-and-so that you're going to, get stuff.
Well, there's, what's that guy? I don't remember his name. He goes by a different name, but Tom Hanks's other son, who's like a rapper. Like, come on. Like, he's, but, so obviously his parents being his parents didn't do much to help him.
Mm-hmm.
But Colin Hanks, on the other hand, he followed in his father's footsteps or his parents' footsteps, and he's taking it seriously, and he seems to be doing all right.
He's done, yeah. That's true. It's an interesting business, You definitely, in my opinion, do it because you love it, and there's nothing else you'd rather do.
Yeah.
Because if there is. Maybe you should do that.
Yeah, right.
I think there's an old Elizabeth Taylor quote when she was asked, what would you tell people getting into show business these days? She's like, I tell them don't. Do not. If there's anything else you're interested in doing, do that. And only the ones where there's nothing else that I'm interested in should even try.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know show business, like, but I could tell you doing just this little thing, this podcast, has been exhausting.
It's a full-time job.
It is. It is and then some. And then some. And it's like I never understood why famous people. Some of them are really like crotchety to their public, to the people that support them and really like them. And but then there's been some instances where I'm like, okay, I get it. like you have to protect yourself because you don't know who's coming at you. You don't know you think these people are your friends. Like you want to think that, but you realize like they all come with their own baggage and their own bag of nuts and they're not always real, or they think of you. This is what's weird to me is that they think of you in a different way than how you really are.
Oh yeah,
or they think of you as like, because they know where I am. I'm in Gettysburg, and so they know. Oh well, maybe we'll come and Matt'll be there or something, and I'll hear from people. And I can they don't say it outright, but I could tell that their attitude is like kind of like maybe how like a monkey in a zoo feels, or like that would be that they look at me like a monkey in a zoo. Like they know where I am, and they can come and they might bump into me on the battlefield, and then it's just like this weird, that's what like I you know what I'm talking about. It's weird hard to explain, but.
Were they thinking you're a certain way?
Well, no. I mean, just like they have their idea of you, but it's based on what you've shown them.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not based on really like who you are.
Who you are.
Yeah,
exactly.
What you've shown them is certainly a part of who you are, but you can't be on all the time. And so it's just kind of like, oh, look, it's Matt. Like, dance for me, Yeah. And I mean, that doesn't happen a lot. It's only happened like once or twice. But I get it. Like I've had a tiny little taste of it, such a tiny taste of it compared to like other people, you know, it's nothing. But I've had enough of a taste of it to understand why.
Some might be the way they are.
Yeah.
Are protective of it, or seem off-putting, or seem cold or distant, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And because they've had their money taken, or their agents promised this, or this has happened, and they've pulled out, or who knows what.
Or stalkers.
Or stalkers.
Like,
you know, I feel like, even though I'm a character actor, that people a lot of times think I'm a certain way.
Right.
He's a guy from Tennessee. Does this. He's been in Civil War movies. Therefore, he does this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, I do all kinds of stuff.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you're a musician. You know, you're a jack of all trades.
You want to, you know, sure, as an actor, you can't do every single thing, but there's a whole wide range, hopefully, in your toolbox that you can play. You know, and hopefully that's some dramatic stuff, and that's some goofball sitcom stuff, and that's some broader comedy, and
yeah,
you know, it's not all just focused work where there's a camera, you know, 3 inches from your face,
right?
Where it's, you know, are you going to be, you know, on a film screen where that's a different acting technique in a close-up?
Mm-hmm.
You know, those Gettysburg scenes are very still. You know,
right?
That those shots I'm in are, I'm facially not doing a lot, but there's a heck of a lot going on in my mind when I'm doing them. You know, and we worked on Tired, and she's like, "You're hungry, you're tired, you've been marching for days, and they've captured you," and you know, so all that's layered in there.
Yep. Yeah, you got to be exhausted.
Yeah, and you're just weary, you know?
Yeah. No, it is a memorable scene, and again, like you have memorable lines there, and I know that my listeners do appreciate your performance in it, because that is one of the two of the lines that two of the many lines that I hear quoted from that movie are from you. So. You know, fighting for my rats and live and let live, I hear some folks say.
Well, sure is what's going on these days.
Yeah, I know.
Apropos, is that the word for that?
It is apropos
is it?
to what
I was
is
like,
going on.
I wanted to say that, and I was like, that's not the word. I'm making up a word like my sister.
Well, I guess you could use apropos. It's significant again, maybe.
Significant, maybe.
It's I don't know. There's some other yeah, you know, I like those words.
Yeah, I like those words. Little did I know that any of that would ever be repeated.
It seems like no matter what period of history you read about, that really seems to be the line that someone should utter. You know, live and let live. I hear some folks say, like, why do we forget this?
Fuss and bother if more folks took it to heart.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where we are today. It's people need to just let other people live.
Live and live, yeah. If they're not harming anyone else or themselves, and just leave people the F alone.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
let them do their thing. Jeez. Just you gotta get back on your side of the street.
Right.
And I'll be over here.
Yeah, right. And then, you know, we just look out the window and wonder what you're doing, like a couple of Gabers.
That's right. Just spy on your neighbor.
Well, what's the you got anything? Because I'm looking here, you got some things that are in pre and post production, and what do you got coming out next?
Yeah, I'm shooting a couple of things. I've got a short film. It's on the film festival circuit before Amazon that I wrote. I've won a couple of Best Actor awards for it. It's called Hank and Holly Meow, and that should be coming out. A Lone Wolf is another movie that just came out on Amazon Prime that I'm in.
A lone wolf.
That people can a lone wolf.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
there it is. I see it. You play Fred Martin.
I play good old Fred Martin.
Okay.
And I got to do my own stunt. I was very excited.
Nice.
In that one. And that's free if you've got Amazon, which most people do.
Yep, gotta.
And
then also, chapter 5 in Perry Mason, you play camera smash reporter.
They smashed my camera.
Oh,
that's why they.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that. And now I got to go back, and I didn't know that was you.
Well, you never know where you'll find me. My friends are like, "Well, you just keep popping up everywhere."
Oh, that's good. That means checks keep popping into your bank account, so that's good.
I just want to keep popping. Oh, and I have a second album. I have a first album that's on Apple Music, Trent Walker, absolutely. And then my second album's getting ready to come out.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
When's that coming out?
That should be out by the summer. We got a couple of more songs and slap it on and we'll be done.
Do you have a website?
I pretty much just use social media.
Yeah.
Trent Walker _actor is Instagram that I use the most. And then my IMDb, and I have TrentWalker.com. But if you go to that, that'll take you to my IMDb.
Okay. So that's what I recommend you do, ladies and gentlemen. Follow him on social media there. You can check out his IMDb. There's a very long filmography here, but he also writes, directs, composes, produces, so much.
That's what you got to do these days.
That's right. You got to be a one-man show.
You got to hold the camera and make the sandwich with the other hand. Craft service and cinematographer.
Cinnamon spreader and cinematographer. No, okay. I was
work on that one.
Yeah, it was
bit.
a stretch.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's all
that's
fun,
why you're the professional and I'm not. You see.
Well, I've done it for a while. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, listen, it was great having you on the show. I appreciate your willingness to do it, and appreciate your willingness to help with those narratives and everything. It's always nice talking to you. And
happy to do more. And hi to everyone who loves Gettysburg. I am glad you write and let us know and keep watching it. And it just goes to show it's a damn good movie, which it is.
It is a very good movie. Trent, we'll be in touch. We'll stay in touch, and I'll let you know when I'm ready for some more quotes from Confederate soldiers.
Until then, keep fighting for your rights, folks. Fighting for your rights.
There you go. Perfect. What a way to end it. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll talk to you later. All right. That was great. Thank you.
You don't even know what you know.